Alert! Be alert! Be alert! Look, it's alert! Alerting!
Officials fearing our troops in the Middle East are facing a significant
Fox
escalation
News
in threats.
alert!
This after an
Uh-oh.
Iranian-backed proxy fired missiles toward one of our warships off the
Here
coast of
we
Yemen.
go. An Iranian-backed proxy fired missiles at a sexy-looking USS Mason that was sitting just outside. They were like, hey, guys, with missiles. Just going to park up here outside Yemen in this country that we're not involved in the war. We've not been involved in the war at all, apart from the bits where we've been involved in. Yeah, we've not been involved apart from the fact we're involved. Now you're firing us. You're firing an act of aggression. It's time to go into a war in the Middle East, methinks. It will help if we slowly go up towards Iran, because we're going to have to creepy weepy. They're going to creepy weepy up towards Iran. You can't stop it. You know it's going to happen. Iran is coming. It's coming. The Iran war. It's coming. It's coming.
Fox News' Jennifer Griffin has the latest from the Pentagon. Jennifer.
Charles, it's interesting to note that a Japanese Navy destroyer assisted the USS Mason Sunday with the interdiction that saved the Israeli tanker and its crew. 3 Chinese Navy warships, however, were also in the area but did not render assistance to the 59 distress calls.
Wow. Let's listen to that again. That is amazing. Some spin. I feel her head should be right in the center of the Pentagon there. They've missed a trick. This seems like such American fuckery starting here.
Charles, it's interesting to note that a Japanese Navy destroyer assisted the USS Mason Sunday with the interdiction that saved the Israeli tanker and its crew.
I just want to say, why is there a Japanese Navy destroyer hanging around near Yemen? I don't want to be like, I don't want to be suggesting that this the Japanese always buddy up with America nowadays, which they do, partially because they got bombed so bad. They got it right up the wazoo, right in the Nagasaki where the fellas did the wacky and the whim did the wacky to woo. Yeah, you know what happened there. You know what happened there. Hiroshima showed Japan they should always be there to save the American backs whenever America needs them. That's what it showed them. Hey, could have been worse. Yeah, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that the 2 nukes that were going to be dropped, that got dropped on Japan, the 2 atomic bombs, well, they were bad. They wrought devastation. But what the British wanted to do was burn the whole of Tokyo alive. Burn all the people. Nearly every house there was in the main area was made of paper and light wood. And they said if they firebombed it, everybody would do casualties that would maybe reach 1 million, which would have been much more than the nuclear bomb. So anyway, this seems like a fit up. Whatever this woman's saying here seems like fitty uppy.
3 Chinese Navy warships, however, were also in the area but did not render assistance to
Japan good, China bad. Who would expect that? Oh, Japan good, China bad. They like karate. They hate kung fu.
59 distress calls, I'm told. Just 2 hours after
59. Oh, those Chinese. They were like, they heard the first distress call. They were like, we know, we can hear you. And we are not going to come and help you. I'm doing a Japanese accent for Chinese. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but that's my Japanese accent anyway. Let's hear. Let's wait. Oh, there's another distress call. That is 2 distress calls. Oh, look, the Japanese are helping them. Silly Japanese. They're still sending out distress calls, though. 59 distress calls later, and the Chinese are suspicious that they're being drawn closer for some other reasons.
From 5 armed hijackers off the coast of Yemen, the USS Mason tracked 2 ballistic missiles fired by Houthi forces toward the U.S. Navy destroyer. Both.
Wait a minute. So it tracked 2 missiles fired by Houthis towards. They say fired by Houthis. They say towards the destroyer. The destroyer can look after itself. What type of is this? Is the Gulf of Nanumpkin? the Gulf of Numpkin. The Gulf of Numpkin. That's a good one.
Missiles splashed down 10 nautical miles from the U.S. warship.
Oh my God!
But
10 nautical miles. Does anybody know how much a nautical mile is? I'm not sure what a nautical mile is. I'm going to check. Nautical mile. And what does it mean? A nautical mile equals 1.1508 land miles. So let me get this right. It landed even further away than it sounded.
both missiles splashed down 10 nautical miles from
10 nautical miles, which would be the same as saying 11 miles. I don't know why they didn't say 11 miles. Suppose it's at sea. Why nautical miles different? No, don't tell me why nautical miles are different. I'm ignoring nautical miles exist.
the U.S. warship
That's silly.
in the Gulf of Aden. But U.S. military sources say the Houthi threat to U.S. Navy vessels continues to escalate. On Sunday, 5 armed gunmen seized the MV Central Park, a
that was
tanker
sexy.
carrying phosphoric acid.
Quarrying.
After boarding from a skiff, the pirates pulled up alongside the tanker, which I'm told had a low freeboard, which gave the hijackers easy access.
Were they hijackers? Were they military? Was that military base? Was that to what was really aboard the ship?
Initial indications show the 5 individuals were Somali, but it's not clear who.
So they're gonna get like this old Somali pirate tricks, and they tried to pass them off as Iranian when it started, wasn't it? They said they were. I'm sure they said they was. That's insane.
The crew had
What's
locked
going
themselves
on?
in the Citadel safe room. The gunmen tried to beat down the door to the safe room and then exited the ship and were making their way back to the shores of Yemen. U.S. Navy personnel fired warning shots and
so they were. I'm really confused. They were Somalis who then tried to get back to Yemen.
Arrested them as a U.S. helicopter gunship flew cover. The hijackers are being held on the USS Mason, being questioned by the U.S. military under counter-piracy authorities. In 2016, the USS Mason also found itself in a similar situation off the coast of Yemen and fired an SM-2 missile to defend itself against Houthi cruise missiles. It was the first time a U.S. warship had fired an SM-2 missile in combat. On Sunday, the USS
listen, that combat has got big quotation marks around it, like novelty quotation marks, really big pink inflatable quotation marks around it. This is ridiculous. And so there were apparently 2 missiles fired that landed 11 miles away from an American ship. They could have misfired. They could have been tests to test out the missiles. And that is a direct attack. This is insane propaganda. Says that there's a neocon push towards consolidating. Listen, the whole of Eastern Europe is consolidated now. Do you realize that? We've entered into the point of perpetual warfare. We know we're at the end stage in Eastern Europe. So the next flank of Russia, the southern flank, has to be taken. This is what this is all about. It's always what it's all about.
Passed through the Strait of Hormuz. National Security Coordinator John Kirby said the aircraft carrier strike group was there to deliver a message.
Targeted at any actor in the region, nation state or otherwise.
This guy looks like he's in a skin suit. Oh, he's got They Live face. If you had the glasses, he would instantly see They Live face. Definitely. He just doesn't look comfortable. Nothing he's doing there looks comfortable. He feels synthetic.
Considerations of widening this conflict.
The Houthis don't seem to be getting the message, Charles.
The Houthis don't seem to be getting the message. What message? What type of line was that? The Houthis don't seem to be getting the message. They fired 2 missiles, and the Americans put out a load of distress signals, and the Japanese. I don't see what they didn't get. What message?
Obviously we showed strength. We
74 attacks.
Our presence is felt. There's an aura about America's presence. By the same token, though, these are
like we go into someone else's waters and we hang around with our big naval combat ships, our poor little naval combat ships that can't handle themselves. We hang about out there and we watch and and they're like, we don't trust you. I don't understand why they don't trust us. Why don't they trust us at all? It's not like we've ever gone to war with anybody in the Middle East, is it?
Escalating. I think 74 actions have been taken against American troops. At what point do we become alarmed, or do we just stay?
74 against troops in other people's lands and other people's territories across the other side of the world. Is this going to be what it is?
On the defensive and try to swat these away?
Well, it's interesting, Charles,
Wow,
because
SWAT.
I was just looking back at the timeline.
This is superior language. If you want to see supremacism here, they're like swatting this away. Should we? Exactly. So why are you worried? You're hanging out in someone else's territory. You're bound to get a bit of conflict when heat is on and when the temperature rises. And the temperature has risen. It's risen. And they seem to be putting themselves. They want there to be something. They want there to be something.
For the number of attacks that the U.S. Navy has either fielded or intercepted or not responded to from the Houthis in the last 2 to 3 weeks. If you go back to November 8th,
Go on.
Remember, the Houthis shot down a $32 million MQ-9 Reaper drone.
Oh my God, a drone. What? Don't tell me. We flying the drone over their country. And what would happen if, say, I don't know, a Chinese weather balloon came over America? Oh, God, you people. I mean, it's such hypocrisy.
There's been no response from the U.S. military to the Houthis firing on that drone. Then the Houthis fired a drone at the USS Thomas Hudner. The Hudner was allowed, of course, in self-defense to fire a missile, and it struck down that drone. But the number of missiles coming out of Yemen toward either Eilat in Israel or targeting ships, and now we have these hijackers that were making their way to the Yemeni shores after trying to take that Israeli tanker. The threats are mounting, and what is a bit baffling to many who know this region is why the U.S. military has not been given the authorities from the White House to fire back and to strike.
There you go. There's the nub. There's the nub of it. We're wondering. We just don't understand why we haven't been given the excuse to get involved in a Middle East war. Why do you think they haven't been given the right to go and get involved in the Middle East war? Is it that it would be extremely unpopular and obviously a ruse to be able to get involved some way? And this is already like this woman classes as an American journalist, and she's a national security correspondent at the Pentagon. So a lot of this is you hear this is like someone who makes their money liaising with Pentagon officials.
Fired back a few times in Iraq and Syria, but it's been few and far between from those 74 attacks that we've documented of rockets.
Oh my God! What about the rockets and drones at the Americans? I mean, come on.
Constantly, almost nightly, targeting U.S. troops that are at those outposts and bases in Syria and Iraq. Wow. Charles?
Jennifer?
Well, yeah, out in... Do you hear yourselves? This is it's unbelievable. It's master race stuff. It's like you're in Syria and you're in Iraq. Those are other people's countries. Other people's countries. Occupying force with no power in the region and saying, oh, we're getting attacked for hanging out. If another country was hanging out with a military base in your country without you wanting it, and what do you think would happen? This is so American, and modern America is hard to watch.
Griffin at the Pentagon, rather. Thank you so much. Always appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, Israel. Hey, Middle East. Hey, American dominance. Hey, NEWSPASTY.